Neighborhoods are networks of people, and helpful connection among the tools to strengthen those connections is a web platform called Nextdoor. To explain how it works and a new development is our guest, a veteran of neighborhood connection in Boston. We'd like to welcome Nextdoor's senior city strategist and professional neighbor, Joseph Porcelli. Thank you very much for being with us, Joseph.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
I want to have you reintroduce yourself to some of our viewers. The last time we had you on, we're having a lot of snow. You were wearing goggles, and you were shoveling all that snow. So explain, what was that all about?
Well, it started when I realized a neighbor of mine in Jamaica Plain back in the early 2000s, her husband had passed away. And I was thinking about her, and I was wondering, who's going to shovel her driveway? We had like 2 feet of snow. And I went by her house, and no one had. And I knocked on the door, and I said, would it be helpful if I shoveled this for you? She goes, oh my gosh, that would be so helpful. And so I did. And then I started thinking about, what about other folks that may not be able to shovel? And through some experimentation, I learned there was a great need for it. So we started organizing neighbors in Jamaica Plain to help shovel their neighbors who aren't able to do it themselves. And then expanded over the years to almost 7,000 volunteers on the East Coast.
Well, I guess you were ahead of your time, at least you're ahead of Nextdoor, because Nextdoor came later. It's all over the place. So talk about this.
Sure. So what we did here in Boston was using a free social networking tool to help neighbors connect to each other and folks from the police department and City Hall. And what Nextdoor has done, thanks to the business acumen of our leadership, is able to expand that to over 85% of neighborhoods across the United States. We're also in the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany, and we just opened shop in France. So neighbors all over are now able to connect and communicate. And the problem we solve is we make it possible for neighbors to do that in a safe way where it's welcome. So if you're not comfortable going on and you're knocking on your neighbor's door and saying, hello, my name is, you can just download the Nextdoor app or sign up at nextdoor.com, and you're plugged into, in Boston here, there's 170 neighborhoods. In Massachusetts, there's over 2,400. So,
well, I know this is a platform that can help with the ordeals, those seasonal problems, but you know, it can mean, where's a good pet sitter or something like that too, right?
You can, there's so many things you can do on the platform. The most popular topics are recommendations. Babysitters, handyman, plumbers. It just rained a lot in my neighborhood, and I live in Annapolis, Maryland now. Someone's basement was flooding, so they were looking for help, sub pumps, contractors, that kind of stuff. It really depends. Like, we just moved, and so we had stuff I wanted to sell, I sold it, and I gave some things away, and it's a great way to basically deal with everyday things. People appreciate that every Nextdoor neighborhood is only, you have to actually verify that you live in the neighborhood before you gain access. A postcard can be sent to your house, or our system calls your home phone or your cell phone, and if the billing address matches, we let you in. So if you're selling something to someone and I see, Chris Lovett messaged me and says, hey, I'm interested in that table you're selling. I know you live in the neighborhood. You're not some random stranger that I've never heard of or met before. So it's a trusted community of neighbors to organize things with, block parties, garage sales, sell things, give things away, and in some cases deal with crime and other challenges that people face in neighborhoods.
Now, there's a lot of community flavor in what you just described, but you also emphasize this is sort of a private network.
Yeah.
Explain why that's so important, I guess, for the security.
Yeah, so when Nextdoor did the research on, hey, we're thinking about doing this idea, people said it would be great, but they didn't want somebody from halfway around the country to be able to Google and see who they are and where they live or what they were talking about. So Nextdoor made it possible for people to join the platform in their community, and they can talk to the neighbors in their immediate neighborhood, and if they want, elect to share things in nearby neighborhoods. So if you're having a garage sale, you want a lot of people to come by, but if you're organizing a block party, you might just invite the neighbors on your street.
This has been the news. We're talking with Joseph Porcelli from Nextdoor. Joseph, I know it might be an unfair comparison to say, look at GoFundMe, and there's some spectacular stories about all this money that came in to help with some real dire need. But if you look at something that Nextdoor accomplished that you're really proud of, what would you say?
Oh, man. How long do we have to talk in this interview? I mean, I think the thing that comes to mind is what happened in Houston during Hurricane Harvey and in Florida, where because people were connected and had a means to communicate, there were people who were literally about to drown. And they posted on Nextdoor, I need help, can you come rescue me? And nearby neighbors saw those messages and came in their kayaks and boats and saved their neighbors' lives, right? That's an extreme kind of end on that. But every day neighbors are being there for each other, helping each other out. And if you think about the distribution of population across the country, there's a large portion of the population who's, elder or who has a disability. And there's always things we can do for each other, right? And I think what makes home feel special is the connection you have with the people near you. And the more that you're able to help them and they're able to help you, the safer, happier you feel. And we're poised to, we're contributing that all over the world now. And it makes me feel proud every day.
Well, one thing that's not totally unrelated to Hurricane Harvey is there's a new partnership in Massachusetts with the state police and the state's emergency management agency.
Yeah, so Nextdoor had been focused on government partnership with local agencies. So for example, the Boston Police Department, the Neighborhood Watch Unit had been using Nextdoor for some time to communicate with neighbors and update them on things going on in the city. The state department, the Massachusetts State Police and Emergency Management Agency now has access and can communicate across the entire state. So they're posting things about storms that are coming, making sure people are prepared for those storms, and they can target a message down to a specific set of neighborhoods. So for example, in Maryland, where I live, the Maryland Emergency Management Agency posted a message about a chemical vapor spill at a facility and let neighbors know, and surrounding that area, hey, you guys need to shelter in your place, which means stay inside, close your doors, seal your windows, and we will update you. And they could instantly communicate that information. So the targeting is really helpful for those agencies, but it also allows people where a local agency isn't yet using Nextdoor to get critical safety updates and information from those two agencies.
We should finally mention to people want to plug in. What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so you can download our iPhone or Android apps and then plug your name, your address, and your email, and we will place you in the neighborhood where you live, and you verify have a postcard sent to your home, but you can do it immediately, literally just by having our system call your phone. You can also sign up at nextdoor.com.
Thank you very much for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
From Nextdoor, Joseph Porcelli.